Because this multi-billion-dollar asset manager just said that one Bitcoin is the new American dream. So today we're not only going to crunch the numbers of how the American dream has got more and more unaffordable over the past few decades and why it's impossible to retire, we're going to be having a look at why you might even need less than that one Bitcoin to really create yourself an American dream for not only you, but also your family. Let's listen to that clip.
It's representation across the globe of the people who believe in the same value system, and you can opt out. And that's why I think for me, it's very obvious that young people now think of the American dream very differently. They're not worried about homeownership. They want to become whole coiner. Everyone wants to own one Bitcoin as like the American dream if you're a very young person. And many actually more than that as ways they think about, the popular meme of retiring their bloodline, but they want more Bitcoin that they can share with them, their nuclear family, their children. And that is a more powerful, I think, social signal than, hey, I have this white picketed home in the suburban neighborhood. It doesn't carry the same prestige anymore with young people the way that a whole coiner would, I think, in the future.
So let's break down, again, I think that's a really interesting thought experiment here. One Bitcoin is the new American dream, but what is the great American dream? What is that white picket fence? Well, let's break it down. Everybody used to move to America because of the great American dream. You could buy a home for $50,000. It used to only cost you, 3 to 4 times somebody's average income, so you could comfortably save for the great American dream. But all of a sudden, this has changed. We can now see the great American dream cost somewhere around $3.3 million. Pretty crazy when you start thinking about things. And what I think is really interesting is when we start pricing things in Bitcoin, because we can see very clearly the American dream, depending upon how you measure it, but if you just want to buy an average size home, so to say, you can see that you can probably pick one up for about 4 Bitcoin these days. These kind of comparisons, or looking at real estate priced in Bitcoin, some of my favorite comparisons to look at. Let's take a peep at this one here, because it's not nearly as if each Bitcoin epoch, so every time we have a halving, 2012, 2016, 2020, 2024, you can nearly see that house prices drop by an order of magnitude every epoch we go through. So we can see here, 2016, a home costed 664 Bitcoin. In 2020, it costed 45 Bitcoin. And today in 2024, or last year in 2024, it was 6.6 Bitcoin. So I've graphed this out previously, and I've showed that on average, house prices are getting about 80 to 90% cheaper every 4 years, priced in Bitcoin. So what would that mean in 2028? Well, the great American dream, an average size house, that would cost somewhere around 1 Bitcoin. That would be the great American dream that Bitwise is talking about here, which I think is a really interesting way to kind of look at things and look at how rapidly the price of housing is just getting so much cheaper. Now, hang on. I could have swore I made this. No, I didn't make this chart. I made one very similar back in the day, but this is another chart showing exactly what we're just talking about. Everything is getting cheaper priced in Bitcoin. And what I think is really interesting is that when you're pricing the same thing in dollars, it obviously gets more expensive. This is why I like this little image that I've popped up on screen for you guys right now. You can see in dollars, house prices continue to rise by nearly 100, 50 to 100,000 every 4 years. Each 4-year epoch, houses just get more and more expensive priced in dollars. But of course, in Bitcoin, that's completely different. Now, why is that? Some people might be wondering, well, why? Why is the great American dream all of a sudden out of touch? Well, I think a lot of it can be explained by this website here. WTF happened in 1971. Why is our hourly compensation, that's in blue, not keeping up with the productivity of the economy? A lot of these charts here are going to really help to explain the pain that a lot of people feel, because everybody feels that it's nearly impossible for the little guy to get ahead these days and afford the great American dream. And again, these charts back it up. Let's have a look at this blue line here. The bottom 90% of earners. So this is nearly everybody. This is 90 people out of 100 that we're looking at in this chart. Well, look at this. Their income's actually gone down for the past 50 years. What's happening? Well, what is happening is that red line that you're looking at on the same chart, that's looking at the wealth held by the top 1%. And have a look at how that has grown by about 400%. Now, again, I don't want to confuse people. This is fine. It is fine that there is wealthy people, and it is always naturally fine that the 1% is going to own a lot more than the bottom 90%. I don't want anyone to get confused. I'm not arguing for wealth equality, okay? Equality is a scam. What we should be striving for is equal opportunity. And the reason why this chart paints the picture that it does is because right now we do not have equal opportunity. We're living under a monetary system where assets are artificially inflated. And guess who gets the opportunity to go out there and not only buy all of the stocks, but buy all of the houses very, very cheaply with near 0% interest rates? It's the bankers, it's the politicians, it's the Nancy Pelosi's who might have $100 million net worth despite only earning $100,000 to $200,000 a year, okay? It's the people who benefited most from the 2008 global housing crisis. It's the bankers who got a bailout, but the everyday person, when their loan went bad on their home, they didn't get a bailout. Okay, these charts that I like to show you guys from time to time really, I think, helps to explain why nobody can afford the great American dream anymore. What's really interesting is, again, wealth inequality is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Absolutely, it's a good thing. Those who are most productive should be rewarded and incentivized to create incredible goods and services for us to consume. But what I do think is interesting is that wealth inequality has not been this extreme since the 1930s. And some of these charts here, having a look at CPI inflation, are kind of mind-boggling. This here's a 250-year chart looking at US CPI. And you can see how parabolic this thing is going. There is no slowing down. And of course, this is only going to make the affordability of the great American dream more and more unattainable. We can see here, real house prices in Amsterdam. Look at that, 500% higher than a 400-year average. This is a 400-year average, guys. 1620 to 2020. It bounced between this index between 100 and 200. Now it's approaching 600. It's insane. The American dream is absolutely over. Equal opportunity. I'd be fascinated. I got some great comments in the chat that I'm going to circle back to. There's 600 of you guys in here today, and it looks lively. But what I will say is, like, look, this is why we Bitcoin. This is obviously why saving in Bitcoin is the only option. If you do want the great American dream, I mean, I think I've said it here. Buy Bitcoin. There is no second best. There is no other solution. It's you either buy Bitcoin or the great American dream gets more and more unattainable. I got one more chart I want to show you that I thought was really interesting. Take a peep at this one. House prices in dollars just continue to get more expensive. In Bitcoin, it's trending down forever. Again, people think we're being hyperbolic when we say, you know, everything priced in Bitcoin will trend to zero forever. I didn't think so. I think the American dream today costs $4.4 million, and it's only a matter of time before it's $10 million, $50 million. It's obviously only a matter of time. But of course, most people don't understand that. This is obviously why we Bitcoin. This is why, again, I'm in Prague right now. I'm here for the BTC Prague conference. Again, if you guys are in town, come say g'day. It's going to be a huge week. Conference kicks off on Thursday, so we've got 2 days left. Some of the biggest speakers in Bitcoin are going to be there. It's going to be absolutely enormous. Again, just a quick one. If you guys don't have your tickets yet, grab yourself 10% off your tickets with promo code LukeM10. That's a little bit of a mouthful, isn't it? But again, I think it's going to be a huge week. Highly, highly, highly encourage you guys to get down to Prague. It's going to be absolutely massive. I think it's probably going to be one of the biggest conferences in Europe. There's going to be at least 5,000 people here, which I think is absolutely huge, which obviously means that there's going to be a ton of other events on during the week. This is, again, why I also encourage you guys to check out Satlantis to find all of the other Bitcoin-related satellite events that's going to be happening in the great city of Prague this week. As you can see, if you jump on the city page of Prague, you're not only going to see a breakdown of, you know, what kind of cost of living or infrastructure or Bitcoin acceptance you're going to see in the city of Prague, but you're also going to see the events page here on the right-hand side of this little website here. And so again, if you want to know which events to go to, this is the #1 place to go and sign up for all of your Bitcoin events. So everything you need to know about Satlantis and BTC Prague, linked down below. But with all that said, guys, I think the great American dream, Bitcoin is your only solution. There is no second best. It's as simple as that. There is no second best. I honestly don't think you're going to need one Bitcoin to, you know, retire and get that great American dream. I actually think we're a lot closer to the Bitcoin era than most people think. And I genuinely think all of this is going to unfold much quicker than most people think. Again, the whole premise of today's video, it was based on a Twitter thread I wrote today. If you want to go fact check my numbers and explore whether there will be no Bitcoin on exchanges in 350 odd days, I have all of the maths in this Twitter thread for you guys to go and check out. Go and crunch the numbers for yourself. Look at the caveats I added in there. Again, I thought I made a conservative bearish case, just looking at the data. So again, you can go fact check all of the maths for yourself. And if you want to learn more about why you are simply too bearish on Bitcoin and why you probably need less Bitcoin to retire than you think, I'm going to put some links to a recent video and an interview with British Hodl and Peter Dunworth up on screen. Somewhere around there, those little thumbnails are going to pop up after this video is finished. And with all that said, guys, I'm going to see you in the next one. Hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoyed Prague. Come say g'day if you are here.